life to live, you have to be happy. I mean, if that makes you happy, be happy.
At the end of the day, don't throw rocks on a glass house because adulterers are adulterers, whoremongers are whoremongers, and so everybody's on. Hey, at the end of the day,
man, I am 2 steps from being a preacher. I am so holy. I am such an innocent man. I was a virgin until I had a child.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
What?
Me. Oh, I was whispering.
Okay.
All right. So first, so we want to get into the topic itself. The poly or poly not. Guys, we bought some special guests.
Whoa. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off, youngster. But let me introduce my lovely host, Miss Sharon Melton, Channel 39 Morning News anchor.
Wave at the crowd.
The one and only. Now, the rules are, if you want to speak or if you want to make a comment on the show, raise your hand, like in class or in school, whatever, and she will come and get you, and you can make your comment, okay? All right.
Do not be afraid to ask the questions.
No.
Listen, we've already quizzed Mr. Alex. Listen, if you tell me right now, if you don't want to talk about something, he's like, no, I'm free, man. Listen.
He's open book.
Cool. So now we have also Dr. Strong here.
My man.
Listen, he go give us the wisdom and the kicks on this thing. So as we get into the roots and the juicy stuff about it, don't be afraid to ask the question. Be curious. I mean, you never know how or what you can get from this. We all had our questions and everything going on with the Will and Jada situation, but never knew the roots. We never knew what happened deep down.
Some of you interacted with me on social media, and you were very opinionated about this. So don't shut your mouth tonight.
Right.
I'm looking at you. I'm not going to call the name, so please speak up tonight, okay?
All right. So first up, we have Mr. Alex that's going to tell us about this world.
Well, Mr. Alex has been on many platforms here around the country, especially here in Houston. Mm-hmm. I saw him personally on Isaiah Factor on Fox News. Yeah. Man, look, bro, he brought his family up, and it was very interesting. I used to stay up that late, and I saw his brother up there. I was like, man, look, what is going on? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing up this conversation, because this conversation is getting stimulated everywhere. It's becoming a very, the wave right now. Right. So I'm enjoying this conversation as of now.
Man. Awesome. So we have to ask the question: what made you decide to get into this world of poly? And break down what the because it's 2 different words of that. Is it poly?
It falls into many things, right?
Okay.
What made me to go off in the first choice was by accident. It was me and my wife. My first wife is right there.
You welcome to introduce her as well.
Yeah,
Your
that's
first
my lovely
wife?
wife, Shalon.
Your first wife?
Yes, my first wife. My second wife's back with our youngest.
Man,
back home with our youngest.
lucky.
But no, we would joke about it, and then at the end of the day, we found ourselves in wanting to see what it was going to be like. When we decided that, those were private conversations, open conversations. I ain't gonna lie, I ended up slipping up and stepping out of the household. But those conversations were in existence before, that's where we're like, well, what are we gonna do? What are we trying to do? Is this the route we want to take? And then, of course, it did not happen overnight. It happened with a whole bunch of conversations, being transparent, holding space for each other. Then we decided to go ahead and say, well, let's see what this looks like. Let's see, bringing in someone into our household and, adding this person to our family. Let's see what this is. Right. And that's what made us actually go forward with it. And that was 8-9 years ago.
Wow.
So we've been doing this for a minute now. Okay. But when we talk about the different dynamics, like I said about Will and Jada, they're non-monogamous. Non-monogamy has 8 different formats. And the first one is going to be polygamy, which is many spouses. Poly is just the term of many. Gamy is spouses. And that falls into 2 different things, which is polygyny, which is man with many wives, or polyandry, women with many husbands. Then you have polyamory. The diversity there is many loves. So since there's many loves, this is where you have your, quads, your triads, which is 3 people, 4 people, but they have an understanding. They come through negotiations, like I said, we did, and then we reach our agreement, and then we see how we're going to expand our relationship. Wow. Then you have swinger. Then you have monogamous. Monogamous is still a monogamy relationship, but it's kind of like a hall pass. You're going out of town, do you? We have that understanding. We made that agreement. Wow. It's consensual.
Right.
Then you have, of course, kink and BDSM that also fall under those things too. An open relationship, but open relationship is strictly only having sexual partners outside your household, not really within, holding that hierarchical core relationship.
So I ask this question. To the wife. If you would have brought that to her attention before you stepped out, I'm gonna get juicy. Say y'all got to exclude me on this. Y'all got to excuse me. So, do you think if she would have been that, open? Yeah. If you would have brought it to her and say, babe, I feel like I want to do something. I want to try something different. Do you think she would have been the way she is now?
Definitely. I think it would have been better, right? I would never suggest to do what I did and the way I did it.
Right, that's
because it became more challenging. At the beginning, not only was I trying to reestablish, because when we talk about infidelity or stepping out, that's really betrayal. Now, at the end of the day, she's grieving who she thought I once was. Now, beginning it in that format is horrible. So now you're relearning me. We're reestablishing our foundation. At the same time, we're bringing somebody else in to build with them. That was so. If my suggestion is keep it healthy, keep it transparent, be open, and don't be limited in the conversation.
Yeah.
Do that with your spouse. Do that, and because we evolve as people. Who I was at 20 is not who I am at 30. I'm 40. I'm not even who I was at 30.
Exactly.
So, but I'm glad to have the ability to be open with my wife, or with both my wives at this moment, and them open with me, and we don't limit each other from any experiences.
Okay, let me add to this. You talk about growth. You were talking about growth. Now, did you guys blend? How are the kids brought into this?
The kids, at that point, my kids were teenagers. Okay. And we've been very transparent with our children. We never held nothing back. I believe always, bringing anything that you need to first to your children from yourself instead of them finding something out from the outside of the house. Okay. So with them, when we told, I didn't tell them, she told them. She was like, let me sit you down.
Well, was it easier for you to say it, break it to them, or was it easier, or did y'all kind of communicate, say, how are we going to break this to the kids? Well, how do we do that and make it?
To everything. My kids are pretty relaxed and pretty open to everything that we've experienced in life because we had them young. So it was kind of like, this is my friend. She's going to come and stay. And
so
they
y'all
were
started
like, wait,
with the friend talk.
time out. Yeah, they were like, wait, time out. So we seen her car here the night before, and nobody slept in different rooms. We already know what it is. They were like, okay, I mean, if y'all like it, we love it, pretty much.
And you know the weird part about this, man, and I say weird because there's a lack of better words. I'm an educator, and I'm an administrator, and I have kids that at my school that have 2 fathers, 2 mothers, and I said, well, I need to talk to your dad. Which one? I have 2 dads, and I know what kind of relationship that is. And usually those kids are stronger, or they are more prepared for what's thrown at them as far as society is concerned, because they're just built different.
Wow.
Versus kids that are just not exposed to that. It's kind of what my experience has been.
I think at the end of the day, it's because we have to kind of prepare our children for what the outside world may bring to them.
Right.
It is something different. And the relationship that you're talking about is under the LGBTQ community.
Well, yeah. But it's still...
Yeah, and it's still, it falls into a untraditional, right? It's not it's an untraditional situation. And with them, we have to take the precautions for our children to be protected. So informing them why we live this lifestyle, why we choose to do it for ourselves, and what the questions may be so they know how to answer them accordingly, we have to take those, we have to be as transparent with our young ones. Right. Who else in a monogamous relationship is really saying, let's have these conversations. Yeah. Mom and dad have this, and it's not really happening. But in some sense, we have to be in that position to make sure our family is understood.
So I'll ask this. So, you said traditional. So we look at the moms and dads. How did they look at your relationship after everything transpired to, hey, this is what we are. We're happy. Deal with it, or y'all, this is not tell them. Did y'all go through that phase, or
the kids
themselves just looking at their parents is what I'm saying.
Oh,
so you talking to your parents?
About
your relationship. How did you guys approach your parents in that world?
My first wife's mother lived with us at that exact moment.
Oh,
so she grew with us into this situation.
Okay.
And her initial opinion was, hey, if y'all know what y'all are doing, I'm just gonna support it.
As long as you're happy.
Yeah, I think me being the man of the situation, my father was just like, hey, you got 2 women? Oh, you gonna die early. That stress right there.
Man,
and of course, my mother. The tricky part with my mother was the loyalty to my first wife, knowing her, because at that point we were together for 17 years. now we've been together for 24. So at that point, my mom's loyalty to my wife, it was hard for her to accept my second wife at that moment. You're bringing in another woman, questioning why, who is she, what is she really doing, what's she here for? So that was kind of a challenging situation that I had to trust in time that it would be proven. But yeah, she was more resistant out of everybody else than from everybody else's family.
Okay.
But it has its challenges.
So if we have any questions from the audience,
I seen the question in the back here.
Dr. Strong, please jump in anytime you want, sir.
After this question.
No, let him jump in. Let him jump in.
Please, reminder to everyone, just be respectful to each other on this, but please tell us what you really feel.
So going back to, I think he scaled back to the traditional side, right? So what I know about poly and our culture, I think we're doing it wrong. So my question to you is, when you decided to do the poly, what was the purpose? What was the goal? What was the end goal for your household?
You're talking about the traditional with general wealth, creating like, the traditional from Africa, how we're doing. So the modern, how we modernized it now is very different. This is where you got polyamory. Polyamory is really just diversity, even where you don't have to create no financial situations to gain with each other, right? Because now you're finding diversity. So I understand where you're going. Now, we had no real goal. Like I said, we stumbled on it. Now our goals are really building for our children, building for our family. Now we are, I created situations to where I've been married to my first wife. I do have, what is it called? It's an agreement and LLCs behind all of us to make sure we're covered, because my union is actually behind marriage. Power of attorney, making sure I have them all in the will. We're all covered within one. Now, when we talk about polyamory, how it's modernized now, is most people are not trying to build anything with each other. They're just trying to gain experiences with each other. So nowadays, it has converted to a different situation, because people look at it and say, okay, well, polygamy back then was based off survival. We're not trying to survive now. We're just trying to enjoy, have companionship, and love. So it has changed these days. But yeah, that is exactly right what you said.
So the reason why I said that, I know some poly couples, they're not in our culture, and I mean skin like us. And so I've studied their household. So they have multiple wives or they have multiple husbands, but each of them brings something to the table. So if there are children involved, one might be a physicist, one might be good in math, one might be good in money. And so they all teach the children, they all bring something to the household. And that's why I asked, what was your end goal? It's not even about the money or the generational wealth. It's not about having multiple partners, or if my wife, unfortunately, I'm sorry, we're all grown, is on her cycle for 7 days, then I can go to my second wife and she's gonna love and care and cater to me, right? If my wife don't know how to cook, but she knows how to clean, that's what I'm seeing now in our culture. So that's why I asked you personally, what was your goal? What was the reason for you getting in? And I appreciate you for answering that and being transparent.
No, definitely. I love that, right? One thing with ours, since it just happened, we just naturally found ourselves in a natural flow to where I do take care of the business. My first wife, she is the nurturer of the home. And my second wife, I didn't go to college for business. She's in college right now doing business. We are taking a path to try to make sure our end goal, our vision is there as one, because you are exactly right. If we're doing this marriage thing, we're doing this union thing, we have to have purpose behind it. And I think that is very strong. I love that you brought that question. Definitely that, yeah.
Hey, before we go forward, we have another lovely couple here that want to share their experience. Mr. DJ and his lovely wife, Miss Akila.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand so everybody can see you guys.
And we want to hear from them and hear their point of view.
So you gotta go. So even hearing what you saying, how you guys look at that world and things. So we got to give you a mic. But how do you guys, just listening to some of the answers and reactions, how do you guys feel about your situation, how you came into this?
Oh yeah, she's absolutely right. There's originally when I first endeavored in this, I looked around and saw people who were participating in it, and I was wondering, like, what are you guys doing? Your house is sloppy. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not building or growing, or you're not edifying each other in any way, shape, form. You're just enjoying each other, but you're still living, below standard, in my opinion. And it didn't make sense to me. So I came up with this term called polynomics, and it's basically like a poly/economic hybrid, where your you're trying to build generational wealth. You're trying to establish because one of the things about our community is we have strength because we have community, because we work together. That's what other races are doing that we're failing at. Like she said, like it's what's the point? So I think one of the things that, since my brothers or my cousins are not trying to build or grow with me because they're still under that generational curse, in my household at least, I can develop that community, that unity, that building blocks that may, you know, rub off on someone else, my neighbor, my relative, somebody else. I'm not telling them how to live their life. I'm just saying this is what works for me in my household. So I absolutely agree. There has to be purpose. There has to be an end game to this, because otherwise you're gonna die early. Yeah. You know, because it's too much. You're spreading yourself too thin to get nothing out of it in the long run, especially when you have kids.
So I'll get a little juicy on this one. So you know, we as men, women always say, hey, when you go, why do you have to go out and look for that? Why am I not enough here at home? You know, they ask those questions. So when you have the 2 wives and all, what reason
do you get that?
I see what he said. I would come catch you.
I said I'm gonna get juicy.
The hard reality is no. Hold up. No,
it's not.
You're not.
What? No. Let her talk. Well, I said juicy.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's a fantasy to want to believe that person has everything that you like about them, but that's not the truth. The reality is, you love this person, you accept them for who they are, but they're not able to satisfy every single thing you need and want. So what poly does is it allows you to have a connection or bond. It doesn't necessarily mean that is intimate, like as far as sexual. It allows you to have bonds and connections with people that you may not get in that one person. Right. So I get something from this person, or I get something from that person, and there's no repercussions for that. And
gotcha.
And it's not, I mean, he has connections, but not all of those connections are sexual. He just, enjoys different things with different people. And, in traditional relationships, some people don't want you talking to other people just because they're the opposite sex. Right. But I grew up with this person. I have a bond with this person. I can't talk to her no more because she's a female. That's, that's not right. So, that's toxic. So, but you do have relationships, traditional relationships, that all of that has to stop just because you said that I'm your girlfriend or I'm your boyfriend or we're on our way to be married. Now I got to cut off these relationships that mean so much to me just because you say so.
That gets to a point of you're selfish then, because you're telling me to cut mine off.
So basically, no, you can't get everything in one person. Right. It'd be nice if you could. I mean, but that's fantasy. That's not reality. I mean, and if anybody is sitting up there telling you give me everything, they lying.
No, that's real.
They lying.
Yeah. You don't want to stunt your partner's growth, because I may not be able to fulfill everything she needs. I would hate for her to have to settle for my shortcomings in any way, shape, form. I may not be as affectionate. I may not be a good leader. I may not be, financially stable. Not saying that I am, but if there are connection pieces, and I'm not trying to say everything is connected to money or stability or those type of things. There are more, intricate things like peace of mind and unconditional love or jealousy or.
So he can get it somewhere else.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
Being honest. Being honest.
So I have to ask this question. So you have 2 wives or?
Only wife, but I mean, he has other connections.
Okay, so how did your situation work for you guys? Because he has 2 wives. Well, how does your connection work?
Yeah, we're egalitarian polyamory, right? There's no hierarchy. Wow. There's no everything is equal. So she's free and fair to establish male connections.
So she can bring another husband in,
another person, not a husband.
Yeah, if she wants to, but I don't think she wants to.
Oh, okay. Would it be a problem, Mr. DJ? Would it be a problem?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You could, because we get the stories of,
and I
can have what you want.
I need to explain that, because
please.
Some people think that makes me a beta male because I'm okay with my partner having another male partner.
Kill me.
But one thing you have to realize is I'm a creation. You know, if we're gonna bring in some scripture here,
right.
I'm a creation, just like she's a creation. I have that God-given authority over her as the head of the household, but I don't remember or remember seeing anywhere outside of that authority where I have authority to control her consciousness or her spirit or her desires or anything that her goals, aspirations. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit.
No, you're fine.
But
drink something.
I don't want to be a controlling partner. I don't want to dictate over her. I want to grow with her, alongside her.
She should have the freedom to be who she want to be.
She can be free to live her truth,
Gotcha.
whatever that looks like, and I support that. You know.
Gotcha.
And this is the lifestyle that works best for our
together?
Yeah.
Is this the type of conversation you guys have together?
Absolutely.
Okay, you have a desire for someone, you think he's attractive. It's not sexual, but you say his conversation is great.
I tried it and it doesn't work for me.
There you go.
The only reason it doesn't work for me is because I'm like tunnel vision. So I'm like in love with him. And so when I go out and I try to date or whatever, they fall in love with me. And then when they're saying I love you, and I'm not saying it back, I'm getting the third degree. It's only because I can't do it.
Can't separate.
Yeah, I can't, like it's all over here. So we can go out and we can have fun or whatever, but you telling me you love me and expecting me to say it back, like that has to happen naturally. And because I'm so focused on him and my heart is right here, I'm not able to, give that to somebody else. I know me. I know that I'm not capable of doing that.
Right.
So in order for me to prevent from having arguments and, because everybody that I've dated, they always like, well, what does he do that I don't do? Like they want to compare. I'm like, you want to meet him? So
that's any relationship, though.
Like, baby, you set the bar too high.
Yeah, they want to. I'm like, it's like
well,
you
just
on a
in
date
love
with
with that
me.
man.
You want to go meet him because the conversations end up talking about what he does, and so it's no longer a date with me and him. So I just don't do it because it's annoying. I get annoyed quick. So I'll just be like, you know what?
I can hear it in your voice right now.
I'll be like, you know what?
I ain't gonna even lie to you.
He talked about you the whole time because I'm very transparent. Like I'm not out there dating people and not saying, hey, this is what it is. I'm poly, I'm this, I'm that.
Right.
So if you want to date me, this is what comes with that. Well, and so, when I'm that transparent, it doesn't work for me like it works for him. Women are more, emotionally sound. Right. And so when they be like, oh, okay, that's okay. Okay. I can work with that.
I hate that skate. Why you want him?
Some of them think that they can come into the situation and they just be cool.
Right.
I mean, but I know that there's been times where he had to cut people off because they don't understand what poly is. They want to convert him, or they think they can convert him, or they be like, "Oh, you were hurt when you were younger." No,
what?
He just
okay. Let's get into that.
That's a term.
They're trying to be his therapist or whatever. But
we do have a therapist on hand. We're gonna get to him in a second. Go ahead.
They call it cowboying.
Cowboy? What?
Yeah. So
you got another term.
What the cowboy term is in non-monogamy is basically when somebody outside your relationship dates you and knowing you identified and been transparent that you're poly, they still want to convert you. Like maybe it's because you ain't found the one, and and that's what it's called, cowboying.
See,
and they try to rope you in to try to convert you.
Wow.
And then it's something that's like, no, I am naturally non-monogamous. I do want multiple partners. I do enjoy you. You don't have to convert me. But in their mindset, because they're monogamous, is that you haven't found the right one and I'm the one. And you see that a lot. That's why when Jesus describes it, you see that a lot.
You quiet now, huh, women? I'm looking at all y'all. Y'all can't change us.
Okay, hey, Dr. Strong, I have a question for you. Now, let's talk about where did this stem from? Now, I know there's African cultures where the men can have as many wives as they can afford. Okay, is that where it started, or did it trickle down? It's been part of our lineage. Is that?
Most definitely. It's just like I'm ex-military, and I spent a lot of time over in the Middle East, and it's accepted over there just like it's accepted in Africa.
Okay.
So it's in our DNA, basically. We as Americans, we don't look at things like they look at it over in Africa, over in Germany, you know, and over.
We're judgmental.
We're judgmental. Exactly. We're very. I'm looking at the faces of some of the ladies. They're territorial. Like I'm territorial too. I can be. We all have it, and it's not. And when we see this every day, with this gentleman, I call it King Al, you know. But anyway, I like this conversation when we initiated it, and it's basically I respect the way he comes, because a lot of people can't really handle transparency.
Wow,
that's what kills them. And the thing about it, a lot of people, even maybe in here, they already doing it. They just not being transparent with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just give it to it like it is, because you know, when it's like you can be shooting at somebody, but when you get shot at, then it's a whole different, you know, factor.
Right.
You know, you have to kind of like balance this thing out. And like I say, me being over in Africa when I was in the military, I got to, you know, pass through a few places. You know, you got the kings and the queens, and they, you know, they do their thing. But over here, it's all about, we're governed by the forefathers and how they did things. And it's a form of control. But when you take your life into your own hands and do what you really want to do, because if a lot of people in here, myself included, if I could do it, it may be different with me.
What you're saying, Doc, ladies take off the shackles and relax and just let a man take control.
I see these faces right here.
I see, if a shoe come this way, I'm going to the bathroom.
You support that? He said he support that. Hey, that's what the good doctor said, take off the shackles.
Well, basically what we have, we most American ladies, that's what you know is how you live. And we're all territorial. It's not a big thing. That's just how it is. And that's all we know. Until you go to another country, and I see your head going like this. We're gonna definitely let her talk.
It's gonna be a controversial.
It's gonna be, and it's good. Controversy.
These
I mean, you know, controversy. You know, me counseling some of the people I've had to counsel. You know, even outside of this particular sector right here, it gets controversial. I done had a few come over the table, but they just kept going that way. I just helped them go. You know, but it's more a situation, man. It's a respect thing. You may not always like it, but you have to respect it.
Yes.
This is what he's doing in his household.
Right. Exactly.
Their household.
Exactly.
This is what they do.
Exactly.
I need some questions on this side of the room.
There's a lady over here who had a hand up.
Who had a hand up?
She had her hand up earlier, so let's come over to her first.
Okay.
So go ahead with your question.
So I have two questions. It's hard enough to find one person. How do you find that second person? Just want to know. The other thing is how you talked about legally, and I've been through this where I've become the executor to an estate. So how do you set it up then from in terms of trust funds and executor of estates and power of attorneys, medical power of attorney? Because do both your wives equally have a say in what happens to you from a medical standpoint?
Cohabitation agreement. That's what I was trying to remember what it's called. Cohabitation agreement is going to put you in a position where you can give them the power. Power of attorney, you still have to sign over. Cohabitation agreement is what it's called. It's going to be the agreement. It's going to be law. You know, it's going to, everything that you have to put in, you could still mirror a marriage license. It is going to take a lot more steps, even to the point to if you want to add another parental unit to your children, you can't. So when you have to take those steps, it is very different. It is very long at the same time, but it does make the relationship more meaningful because you guys are actually doing it together. But you can't put everything into protection what you need to do for that other partner. So there are cohabitation agreements. There are signing LLCs. There is signing power of attorney to make sure. And of course, these are discussions you have to have with all three of you guys, because I can't just sit there and make the choice and not let her have her opinion or her share into the information, you know, what's going on, because also we had something established beforehand. But yeah, we want to make sure when we're, and this is polygamy, when you do it in that sense, it is marital, it is marriage, and it is protecting every party in that relationship. But polyamory, it is a little different to where, like, this couple, they possibly will not do that. It will just be strictly dating. It will just be connections, you know, growing what that relationship is. If it's seasonal, if it's an experience, if it's long-term, long partnership, they live a little bit different. You might get an emergency contact. But no, that's real, and that's the beautiful thing about it. That's why when we talk about Will and Jada, when you said were they poly, they were not poly, but they were still non-monogamous. And at the end of the day, what they could be considered is open relationship. They could still have that agreement of how they want to structure things. In polyamory, they could even fall into polyamory where it could look like, well, you know what? We understand we have a platonic romantic relationship, poly non-sexual, and we have outside partners. The diversity is there. When we talk about non-monogamy, the root behind it is consensual and ethical. So it's when we negotiate to agree what we see our relationship working for us, not nobody else, what we see for us. So when they say, hey, I never cheated, he probably never did. She probably never did because they understood they could have outside partners. But to us that don't understand that, well, not to us, but to others that don't understand that, they're like, that's still cheating. No, we talked about it. Let's talk about what cheating is. Cheating is not a sexual act. It's a betrayal. It's going beyond our agreement. It's breaking our contract, our verbal contract that we agreed that we're going to live like. See, that's a whole other different topic when we talk about cheating. Oh, we got a question over there.
We got a hand up over here.
I got one.
That was a great question. All right, we got a question over here. So, ma'am, go ahead. Ask your question. Hold the mic.
Okay, my question is when you have an employer and they usually only recognize one wife, who gets to be on the insurance? And when you say as much as you can afford or how many wives you can afford, is that solely off your income, not with me contributing my income to the household?
Oh,
good question.
I like that. You said on the insurance. We got to make sure we all have our insurance.
I
can't put I got to put an extra wife as a child. No, I'm playing.
Mr. DJ, you have any response to that?
Okay.
That's okay.
No, the insurance is very different. The good thing is that we do take precautions on how to actually gain insurance for everybody individually. Sometimes I don't put everybody on my insurance. I am the sole person. I do work. I do have everybody under my insurance. Well, my wife, my children, my second wife, she does carry her own insurance on as well. But that is a very quick question because it is very hard to actually do that. It is bigamy. At the end of the day, it's bigamy to be legally, married to two women. At the end of the day, you can't do that here. But you do have to take different precautions into it. You said income, right? Run it back.
Hold on just a second. Let's repeat that again so people at home can hear.
So my second question was, from the definition, it was how many wives you could afford. So is that solely off the income you bring in as the man without my income being a part?
I love that question. It depends what type of relationship you have. Now, when we say income, at the end of the day, a lot of times you lead by the hand, you get left on the ass. Now, you could buy the women you want in your life, and you feel like sometimes that may be for you. To me, my situation, equality is everything. I do cover a majority of everything what's needed, but at the end of the day, the way we work is what we created for ourselves. At the end of the day, our income source is all three of us together, whatever we bring and we provide. It's not really how much you can actually really afford if you want a healthy, successful, non-monogamous relationship. It's the capacity and bandwidth of how you can show up with every relationship that you have. So at the end of the day, paying somebody ain't gonna keep somebody. But if I'm able to show up and bring safety and security, invest in you and also validate and not leave you emotionally inadequate, is going to look different. Now I secure a life partner. So the investments look different depending the relationship. As for mine, I'm looking at my investment more for who the person is to gain the trust, the patience, the love, the companionship for a lifetime situation. Overall, me just paying you to keep you around. But for some others, they may pay you to keep you around. But it's just each their own. But that's just the point of actually really talking and negotiating what the relationship looks like. I'm not against transactional relationships. Transactional relationships are a very good thing. I support it if that's your choice to do at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, so when you guys sit around at that table, the dinner table, whatever it is, and you say, well, listen, well, if you guys were at a younger age and y'all started this, how do you discuss children? How do you discuss everything that comes? Because you're the first wife, does she say, well, I'm here first, so it's, you know what I mean? I want a baby, but she might not want it, but the second wife might want the baby. Do y'all come together and say, you know what? I'm okay with that. How do y'all agree and disagree and come to whether it's kids, whether it's money, it was like, hey, I make more, so why should I have to listen to you? Why, because at the end of the day, I make the most money. Well, I'm going to the nine to the women that look at it as I make more money anyway, so why should I listen to you? And then you go to a marriage of, well, I make money, I'm still the head of this household. How do you guys come to that round table? Yeah. How do we come to that round table of kids, Who do you just say, well, you could have kids. Well, I'm gonna impregnate both of y'all, so y'all minds, it doesn't matter. Or
I would
how
never.
do y'all have those kind of conversations? What does that come? Is everything just open on the table and you just?
The main part about everything in non-monogamy is to be hot, right?
Right.
Honest, open, transparent. So knowing that you're gonna be honest, open, transparent. Let's talk about if we having sex. That's grown man games. That's grown people games. We know the possibility of the endless things. I have 3 children with my first wife, and I have a 3-year-old with my second wife. Okay. You know, and we're grandparents. You know, it's long story. Other story. Yeah. But no. At the same time, that's discussions of if we're really doing a relationship, we're really doing a relationship. We're doing a marriage. This is what it is. We know what the outcomes are going to be. When it came to our children, my 3-year-old, my second wife. It wasn't really planned. It wasn't really discussed. We knew about it if it was a possibility because we were sleeping with each other. We knew what that could end like. Mm-hmm. So when the newborn came about and she did tell us, hey, I'm pregnant, and the announcement came, my wife, of course, it was a process for her emotionally. Oh, my God, okay, this is getting real. Now we done shift playing games or playing whatever it is, having fun, whatever you want to consider it to. It's family. It's serious. We're expanding. This is a lot, but she was still supportive to why I want every woman to still experience being a mother, you know, and that was one thing that she stood by. And now our family is our family, but you have those discussions. You sit there and say those possibilities. You sit there knowing you're bringing someone in your relationship, have a discussion on how we're going to handle conflict, how are we going to have these discussions, these spaces to hear each other, validate each other, and if things are really going too wrong and too bad, how do we sit there and try to rearrange everything to make sure we get back right? If you guys are not, you could really destroy your relationship. And that's, again, polygamy, because polygamy is different from polyamory. Right. If you have polyamory, some relationships don't want children. Yeah, like you don't. Yeah.
So you don't have kids at all?
We got kids, we just don't want no more. Fuck the rest.
Yeah, like outside sources,
so get her another drink.
So this goes into my next question. My next question. The kids that you have now, your kids in your family right now, do they face bullying? Bullying at school, kids. I'm an educator. Kids can be cruel once they found out how you live, your lifestyle. Do they face bullying? But the kids have a way of finding out. You're very public.
Yeah, I was about to chime in on that.
Okay,
you know,
go ahead.
Being on Fox News, being on 97.9,
right?
You know, they know about it. I brought my kids onto Fox News.
So they face bullying?
No, they never been. When they went back to school after it aired, they became the popular kids. Your family's what? Really? Your dad doing what?
Wow.
You know, but we have to realize one thing. Things are changing. It's not like it was back then. When we talk about living like this is nothing for people identifying as pansexual, bisexual. It's so different that people are living so unique in their own life that what I'm doing right now is nothing compared to what's outside there right now.
Right. So, Dr. Strong, let me add this. Let me add this. For those that their kids are facing bullying right now, what do you suggest to them?
You know, that's a loaded question because, you know, every situation is different.
Okay.
You know, a lot of it is environmental, you know, because some places it's accepted. And like he said, just a minute, you know, they're praising him. Hey, this, that, you know, it's some questions. I mean, it's some I can go from a matter of opinion.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you just got to talk to the right people. You know, if I was in it, I'll just have my kids. They would know self-defense and they just be able to defend themselves. That's just how I look at it. But let me add something else to this while I'm talking. Yes, you know I got that soft voice. You know,
pretty smooth.
I'm territorial too. You know, no, but talking about territories, I listened to this young lady over here, and I don't want to get her wrong. But I know my business. I'm 61 years old, and I got, you know, daughters, and they can be territorial. You know, a woman in general. You know, see, back in Africa and all the other places that this exists on a major level, they have the senior and the junior wives, and you respect that the senior wife. That's how the game goes.
There's a hierarchy.
You know, like she's respected. You know, she's respected, but she respects him more as being the king of the house, doing what's supposed to be doing. So that's a big thing when we come to territories, when we're dealing with this, even with the children. it's gonna be territorial. If anyone comes after, like she said, she don't want it anymore.
Well, I guess it's the beauty of it. We can adjust it the way we want to.
Exactly.
Well, all right, I got to throw another juicy one out there. I'm tired of this.
Right.
Because I ain't getting no juice over here. So
you guys better juice it up.
So I got to throw it at both of y'all. I hate to say it like this, but I got to keep it real.
Say it.
All right. Sexual partners ain't all good.
Yeah, I told you I'm not good at head.
I like that for you
at all. I'm not good at head.
You see what I'm going? So what if you have one partner that's very good sexually?
Girl, get it. Go on, get it. Suck his soul.
Oh,
Mr.
That's
DJ,
compersion. That's
hero.
compersion. That's
Mr.
that's
DJ,
compersion.
my hero.
That's compersion.
hey, that's right.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
That's
bro?
compersion.
That's compersion.
So
Another one?
Yeah, look, we have so many different definitions.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
So compersion is knowing that your partner is happy with their partner and living their life, and you're happy for them. So that's compersion. She's just happy. Whatever it is that he's getting, he's satisfied. He's happy. Makes her happy. Cause yeah. And at the end of the day,
Happy wife, happy life, huh?
But I did hear you were territorial. So what if he killing her and you like, well, what? You ain't never beat me like that. What are you doing?
What? We had a conversation today. Like, we gonna be transparent. We had a conversation today, and I thought he was over there having a party. And they was having sex. I was like, well, we ain't never had sex.
See what I'm saying?
You know, so I do have moments.
Does jealousy come into play?
What you mean? Everybody got jealousy.
Facts.
Everybody.
Facts.
Like you would be like that would be a complete lie to say that there's no jealousy.
So when that
in any
happens,
dynamic.
what do you do? Y'all sit down and have this conversation?
I just bring it up and he lectured me, and then later on we have sex in the pool.
Oh,
I love that. I mean,
Sex
but
makes
that's
everything good.
Answer that question.
That's what you're supposed to do, right? What other way can you sit there and be jealous, bring the topic up to your partner of why you're jealous, and navigate through those emotions together? That's exactly how it's supposed to be done.
Response over there. There's
Go,
a hand
come on.
that's been
Who got
holding
the
up.
response?
There's a lady over here. She wants to say something. She's been holding it. So, okay, ma'am,
right.
you would like to respond?
I would like to respond. I kind of saw this situation manifest in real time. It was a little bit different because it was part of lifestyle. And there was a couple that was partaking, and initially the wife was fine, but I don't know what he did to this woman that made her angry, but she got angry. And I think that sometimes when you're in that situation, you don't always know up front what that trigger may be. And she ended up pouring water on the young lady and had this whole big old thing. So it's like, how do you deal with that at home afterwards? So now your wife, she was cool with everything, but whatever that one thing was, that finger went too far somewhere. And she's now reacting to, hold up, that's not it. And she's, put her attention on the other woman who now, is now victim pretty much to a situation that maybe you guys didn't have a conversation with or she wasn't ready for. So how do you address this issue moving forward?
Ooh, that was a lot. I could hear you halfway.
Did you hear her, Mr. DJ? Did you hear her?
The whole thing, right? Yeah. No. So you said if there was a situation with one woman when you and one, it wasn't settled, but instead of going through him, you went through the other. Not you personally, but she went through the other woman to try to handle that situation.
Pretty much what it was is that I understand that up front. You would think that you're prepared for any situation until the situation happens.
Fact.
So once the situation happened, the wife reacted to the situation off of emotion, and she got mad at the other woman, but it was her husband who did the action.
Fact.
So my question is how do you, as the husband, address the wife that now has reacted to the other woman because of something you did that caused her to react in the way that she did?
Oh, this is called accountability.
Wow.
This is simply called accountability. You can't react to the first wife of how she reacted towards the second woman due to the fact of his own actions. You have to be accountable of your actions of what you caused in that situation. There's nothing I'm gonna ever do that's gonna put my first wife in a position to question me of what I do with my second wife. Like I said, we are hot. It's honest, open, transparent. So if I'm doing anything secretive or deceitful and she reacts the way she reacts, is she really wrong because of my actions? That's going to be her response. Okay. Now, if we want to sit there and say, I did something and we did something in the knowing, and you react knowing I'm doing this, and we have to handle your emotions, I could support and navigate your emotions with you. But if I cause that, I can't do nothing but take my accountability and get right. And not, then you need to set your boundaries, and at the end of the day, stand on those boundaries, and I got to respect those boundaries. But at the end of the day, the husband's wrong in that situation. There's nothing else that could be done.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm getting my miles in, my walk in.
With heels on, with heels.
Oh, Vanna White.
Okay, so from what I'm understanding, there are triggers. There are old phantom underlying mechanisms that before you come into this lifestyle, you have to do the work to work those things out. Put in new information. Put in fresh ideas and perspectives. So you're saying that one of those triggers slipped through the cracks. You didn't know it was there. You weren't aware of it. Something happened and immediately triggered. Story of our early polyamory life, right? Because her transition was late blooming, right? So here's what I'll say to that. One of the things that's worked well for us, and it could work for someone else, it may not, but you have to reverse engineer those emotions and those thoughts that create those triggers. You have to remind, her memory is terrible. So I'm constantly having to remind her of the building blocks, the basics from the work that was done early on before transitioning into a lot of times those old emotions will hit you and you're caught off guard, and the mindset doesn't rush to the forefront and help you and resolve it internally before you have that external outburst, right? It happens all the time. It happens in your friendships, your relationships with your parents, kids. It's just something that you just kind of have to work through and commit to being better at, because this is one of those areas of life that affects every other area, relationship. Your job, your health, your wellness, your financial stability, like it affects everything. So this is not something you play with. It's not something I don't believe he plays with. We don't play with it. So it has to be a commitment. You have to do daily work on yourself. Something you probably should do anyway, just from a personal standpoint, I would think.
That sounds like a typical marriage, the way you're talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Like, it sounds like a monogamous marriage.
Right.
It's just how you saying it. It's like,
you're not getting away from, so when you get away from monogamy, you're not getting away from companionship. You're not getting away from...
What I see right now, y'all are very emotionally stable.
There's
some very
emotionally mature people.
Emotionally mature. Emotionally mature people.
Poly doesn't make it easier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's actually more work. You're dealing with more. You're dealing with more people.
Y'all chose that.
You're actually working on yourself.
Exactly.
How many of us actually work on ourselves?
Yeah, you can't look at this dynamic.
What she means is, let me clarify. It's more work because you have to overcome the traditional standards that you were raised and conditioned under. So you have to climb an uphill battle. You have to overcome all of that hardcore, that stuff that's been resonating with you since you were a child.
You're rooted, right?
Your roots, right?
Yeah, your roots
in American culture.
Right.
So you have to push through that to be your best version of self for your truth.
Free.
It's a complete,
exactly.
It's a completely different mindset. I know that a lot of the things, like when I think about monogamy and how I used to think in monogamy versus how I think now, and I see people in monogamous relationships arguing about little things like who he's talking to on his phone or who he's texting on his phone. Mm-hmm. Like, that stuff is so minute to me. I look at it and I be like, why is you tripping off of who he texting in his phone? He texting somebody, but he's sitting right here next by you. Like, why are you?
Do y'all hear that?
Why is it like that? Like, it's like a lot of the things that people argue about in monogamous relationships don't even affect us in poly.
I love that.
So it's a completely different. You gotta change your whole mindset.
You said poly though. I think it's more of a secure woman. It has nothing to do with poly when you say.
I possibly could have become more secure in poly in different areas because there are some things like not having sex in the pool that pissed me off. And
you want to look
okay.
You remember that back
So
in 2016?
Let me
Nah,
ask
don't
this
bring it back
question.
up. Don't bring it
Do
up.
you feel safe enough and secure enough to share anything with your husband and know you are not going to be judged or restricted?
oh, absolutely.
And that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah,
the one
absolutely.
thing that they're describing is not only emotional intelligence, emotionally maturity. They're also describing they're not demonizing or idolizing, they're humanizing. And a lot of times you could do that in monogamy,
Right.
but sometimes we're not practicing. We're not putting these practices of humanizing the people that we're dealing with or that we're in a relationship with. We idolize them. They're supposed, my man is going to be this. My man, when he go to work, he ain't doing this. My girl, when she doing this, she ain't flirting. She ain't got no work husband. We're putting these things because we're idolizing them. And then once we find out, we demonize them. And we're like, I can't believe you.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we're human. We have to humanize to relate. Not a lot of people know how to relate with each other.
Right.
And that's what we're missing.
I mean, I hate to cut off your brilliance, man. We're winding out on time. But I have one question for you because you seem to be this emotionally mature brother. Do you ever get jealous?
Do I ever get? Of course.
You do?
Yeah, of course.
DJ, you get
of course.
jealous?
Of course.
You
I
don't get
never know
jealous,
it.
DJ? Oh, shit.
I disagree. That can't. I look, brother. I'm with you, but there's no way.
Hey, we're gonna
There's no way.
Let me be more clear.
Okay.
We all have a spirit of jealousy within us.
Right.
Okay.
Some choose to give it a place. Some choose to snuff it out. The moment it shows or rears up. I have psycho, like I've tricked myself into believing that it doesn't even exist in me, so that when it does show up, I don't recognize it for what it is. So it can still look maybe like jealousy to somebody outside of me, but me personally, I don't act on those jealous
But
thoughts and feelings
feel it,
because
though?
I don't see it as jealousy.
Because I was gonna say emotions are unavoidable. Jealousy is an emotion. And at the end of the day, it's about learning how to navigate and emotionally regulate yourself. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get jealous, you're gonna get whatever, but it's how you regulate and you navigate to make sure you are not reactive, but responding correctly to any situation.
Dr. Strong, hold on. So
man.
Dr. Strong, how do you feel about that last one?
The study of human behavior is very important.
Say it again.
The study of human behavior is very important. We're all human. We're going to have reactions to another person's actions. That's just how it is. Anyway, we want to break it down because, like, say, this is not something to some people. This is normal to them now, but it's abnormal to people around here. That's why everybody is, I see the heads and, I'm checking it out, know, and that's cool. I'm good with that because, it takes strength to do what they're doing.
Man, a lot.
It takes strength.
Yeah, a lot.
You got choices,
you.
you got consequences, and in this case, you got benefits. I mean, because they knowing what they do. And I'm not a judge.
Sexual nasty thoughts over here.
Well, I mean, hey, it's something that this should be on worldwide TV. This should be on Oprah or something like that. Right. I mean, I'm just being
Stay tuned.
serious.
We go blow up.
Okay, and I like what I see because being real and transparent is what it's all about. Right. See, some people in here is gonna have some nightmares tonight. And then some people are going to take these ideals out here and they going to do what they do. I mean, I see people, I see the cheers, they switching and, all that. And that's cool because it's abnormal.
That's because they next going to be hurting
And, that like a girl, if she got a girlfriend riding on, and girl, and we better be looking at the road when we go home is what we better be knowing. But I'm good, man. I'm good because I'm not a judgmental person.
Okay.
Because like I said, I've been to other countries, Like I said, a lot of people, he's a player. That's what they would say.
Okay.
He's just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
This is a way of life for them.
Wow.
Right,
last
we got
question.
A comment.
Is
we
this
got a
last
comment question over here.
Yeah. So I'm going to get like Big L and just say, get something juicy out there, right? So for you guys to be really honest, open, and transparent, right? How do you guys feel? Like, do you invite the other wives into your bedroom? Like, or is it is there boundaries as far as you're only with one wife
at a
in
time
the bedroom, or have you guys like?
It's like one at a time, or is it like threesomes all the time?
There you go.
I had back-to-back threesomes for the first 2 years of the relationship.
Did they get old, or did it like?
It got kind of old. I'm not gonna lie to you. Threesomes got kind of like
that smile on your face on
yeah. But no, refreshments are great.
Okay, no, but when it comes, she didn't actually hear your full answer. So can you repeat what?
Oh yeah, no, I was having threesomes for like the first 2 years of the relationship, like consistently,
for 2 years straight.
Yeah, it got kind of. I mean, I think we tried everything that was under the rainbow. It is what it is.
Really just wanted to please you, basically. They just
they'll have sex with each other too, like without me, you know. But it was.
That's on next week's episode. No.
Yeah, we bring it back a part two. We bring it back. No, but when it comes to sex, it really is at the end of the day, because a lot of relationships are not like mine. But it is really about at the end of the day of how you guys see structure for you guys to create them. Some people have schedules. Some people they just connect with one partner at one at a time. It's really what your relationship is, whatever you want to create it to be. But no one's opposed to threesomes. No one's opposed to just sleeping with one person at a time, however it is. Whatever works for y'all to create that naturality, that's what's supported. But yeah, I always tell people, choice over default. Don't be a prisoner of no one else's concept of love. Do it whatever you want to do. Like, you want multiple men, I support that. You want multiple women, I support that. Y'all want to just go around spread love, I support that. I'm here to be supportive.
Absolutely. All right, so our time is up, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Lord.
We gotta do part two.
It's going to be a part two. It's going to have to be a part two. It's quick. It's quick.
Are you
okay?
I promise it's quick. I promise it's quick. Hold on.
I need to hear this stand up. It better be good too.
All right, hold on. Only one. I'm gonna cut you off. On one. Only one. Just one. Okay, go.
How do you establish boundaries with the new people that come into your situation?
Oh, with us? No. I would not bring no one in. I would not bring no one in. It's just us three. Like, none of us, we all agreed that we wouldn't bring nobody in. But we did have to establish boundaries through a lot of trial and error. I'm not going to lie to you. When we started this whole situation, we were very unfamiliar with what we were doing. And then we had to really set boundaries on each other and respect those boundaries to make sure that at the end of the day, we didn't disrespect each other. Because, we were allowing one relationship to overlap the next. And it was like things like, hey, you shouldn't be involved in this. If I'm venting to you, we had to put different structures, different rules, different things to understand each other, to not overlap each other, because we were destroying each other's relationship. But that's a very big thing that you guys have to sit down, create a safe space, hear each other, respect each other, because every relationship falls 4 ways. Well, my relationship falls 4 ways. It's me and her, me and my second wife and her relationship, then all three of us together. And all those relationships have different boundaries. That was a dope question. You did that.
Wait. No.
Because they do it different. They do it different.
Okay, so for me, like I said in the beginning, I have already established that I only really want to deal with him only because it's just a hassle. But for him, I know that he vets people that have to understand his lifestyle, and if they don't, then he doesn't bring them in. You want to tell?
Yeah. You want to say it?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, I vet to make sure they understand the lifestyle, and more importantly, they mesh with her. They gel with her personality as well.
Did I answer everything?
There you go.
All right, so.
Man, first off, let's give everybody a round of applause, man, for this wonderful podcast. And to our guests, Dr. Strong, and our couples, man, we really
DJ,
appreciate
Wives.
you.
Thank y'all.
Yes.
All right, so as we wrap this thing up, we want to thank you guys from the bottom of our heart. Come to the next episode. You know it's going to be juicy. We always digging in the bag to make sure you guys come back for another juicy topic.
Now,
so
before you leave, please leave your email numbers and email addresses and your phone numbers.
Right.
So we can get in contact with you, and please add topics you want to talk about.
Yes, DM us. DM.
Part 2. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Maybe New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve.
Our production team is right here, Miss Jackie, Miss Felicia. Make sure y'all DM us so they have something to talk about, so we can talk on the next
topic. And to our production team, man, Mr. Dom, your crew, Mr.
Thank
D,
you, Mr. Dom, D,
man, our lovely host, Miss Sharon,
Miss Sharon,
man, we love y'all.
Hey, so join us on the next episode. We thank y'all so much for coming out. Please enjoy the music, have drinks, and let's have some good times before we leave here.
We
all
love
right?
y'all.
Take pictures. We're taking pictures too. So pictures, handshakes. We want your opinions. And please do not leave without giving us some love. Thank y'all. All right. Done? That's what, yeah.